Hello, everyone. This is week number 49 of my 52-week challenge to do a live LinkedIn live stream every single week. I'm here with an international guest who's actually tomorrow ready for him, Marcus Cheu, all the way from Singapore. How are you doing today, Marcus?
I'm doing great. First of all, I just want to thank you, Stefan, for giving me this opportunity to speak with you on this exciting 52-week challenge, and it's my pleasure to be on here.
Yeah, no, it's great to have you on. I know you do coaching about side hustles, and which is why our topic today is about entrepreneurship, side hustle, mindset, productivity. There's a lot that we're going to talk about today. So, but before we get into our topics, Marcus, do you mind sharing a little bit about who you are?
Yeah, so honestly, officially, I just graduated as a student. Like just last week, I finished my last finals paper. But on the side, over the last year, I've been working as a side hustle coach. So essentially, what I help people do is I help coaches and consultants land their first 3 to 5 high ticket clients. And yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, that's essentially what I do from a variety of topics that I believe we will cover today as well, from mindset, so productivity, how do you manage your side hustle, and obviously how do you grow your business.
Yeah, and that's it's very relevant today. A lot of people started up side hustles last year during the pandemic. I doing my career coaching as a side hustle. It's not an official, full time thing yet. So everyone's always working on something on the side here, and we'll talk about strategies on how to make that into a full time thing. We'll talk about entrepreneurship, and also how to develop the right mindset to that. So thanks for sharing that. First comment here comes from James. Hello, James. Usually always the first comment,
Wow.
all the way from Malaysia, same side of the world as Marcus. So
Yeah.
good morning to you, James. So let's just start to talk about our first topic here about entrepreneurship. How do you start becoming an entrepreneur? So what's some of the tips or what are some things that you've done in your journey so far?
Right. I think I will start off by sharing a little bit more about my journey, and then I can share a bit more about how someone can actually go about it. For me personally, I've always wanted to start something myself. But in the initial stages, I was maybe like a lot of people who wants to start out their own stuff. I was very lost, right? I didn't know exactly where I wanted to go into. I was just looking at all these different opportunities. And I was probably what people would call a dabbler. So, I would go up on blogs, I would read up on resources. I would let's think at one point in time I was thinking of starting a blog to blog about like college stuff, like resume or like writing or like how to excel in studies, that kind of stuff. But school got in the way. On hindsight, it was an excuse, but I realized I didn't like blogging the most. Pivoted out of that, and then I went searching for my next opportunity. So then I went to join my friend in an e-commerce brand that he actually kickstarted that was selling watches called
Okay.
Saucony Original, and that was one of the most eye-opening experience that I had, because what was interesting was the founder kickstarted the company, right? But I was brought on into a management role, sort of like a COO of what they call, alongside some of my other friends who were working on other things within the business. So I was kind of caught between the founder and the team that was onboarded with me. And that really kickstarted my entire like personal development journey, where I had to figure out a lot of the things, right from how do I even set goals, not just for myself but for the team,
Mm.
how do you lead a team, or how do I go about planning my day as a side hustler. So that kickstarted my entire journey, and along the way, I actually hosted a podcast for the brand. So, like you, I was interviewing guests, I was getting to know everyone from different spaces, and that was when I first chanced upon coaching.
Mm.
And before that, I had no idea what coaching was, right? But after I got in touch with the entire circle, I thought it was really interesting, that you're essentially helping people through the same problems you once faced yourself. So then, to cut the story short, I pivoted away from the e-commerce brand, and then as I was looking for the next thing to do, I decided to go into coaching to give it a shot, to help people through the same problems I faced when I first got started within that e-commerce journey. In terms of I gotta admit, I was procrastinating a lot because I didn't know what to do. There was like so many things that were very overwhelming, and yeah, so then I kickstarted my coaching journey, helping people with high performance mindset, productivity, and that's how my journey began. So tying that back to how do you get started? I think the most common question is probably like how I was in the earlier stages. Like I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I think that's probably the first question that a lot of people go through. And I think to answer that, it really comes down to number one, looking at all the different opportunities that are out there. And then number two, I think it's a lot more of like self-awareness and clarity, where you need to ask yourself, where do you see your skill sets playing out and where can you actually be of value to the different opportunities? Because I think I'm sure you've probably came across this before. Like we always fall victim to the shiny object syndrome.
Yeah,
Right? There are like so
exactly.
many different opportunities, and we're like looking at what might work. And what I found is honestly that every opportunity works. Like in literally every single industry, there is success stories, and what we simply need to find out is which is the one that works for us, and then just go ahead and get started.
Yeah. Well, hey, thank you for sharing your career journey so far. I know it's very, very, very early in your career, but I just want to touch on a couple of points that you made here. First you were talking about you didn't know how to do anything, right? You're trying to build up a side hustle. You're trying to do e-commerce. You don't know how to do anything, and you said you procrastinated on these things. And I think the point I want to share is a lot of things that we don't want to do is because we don't know how to, right? And we don't want to invest the time in. When I started my career coaching business last year, I was just like, oh, how do I find clients? How do I create a website? How do I do this and that? And I think just by taking that step and taking that plunge, and it's literally a plunge, you're jumping into the deep end of a pool, and that's how you learn, right? You learn about, okay, how do I find the right clients? How do I find my price point? What is my niche? And I think that's the second point I want to make is you want to solve problems that you've gone through in the past, right? So you've built up various side hustles in your earlier in your life. Now you're coaching others to do the same. I've been creating content on LinkedIn since 2018. I used to be a shy introvert. Posting videos on LinkedIn helped me build up confidence, and now I'm doing a weekly LinkedIn live stream. So people see that journey. So then now I'm helping other people do the same. There's a lot of people who are shy. There's a lot of people who aren't comfortable with public speaking. So yeah, that's the second part there. Figure out what problems you want to solve, and you would have the most, not expertise, but you would have the most reputation or the most clout because you've gone through the same thing, right? So why would I hire Marcus to build up a side hustle if he doesn't even have a side hustle ever, right? So it's the same thing that applies, right? So finding a coach, finding someone to help you who's gone through that journey before.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's if someone is lost to begin with, I think that's really the first point that you can get started with, right? To just ask yourself, where were you just maybe like 6 months or like 12 months ago? Like what were some skill sets that you picked up? What was some experience you've gone through? And I think that's a great starting point to look at, okay, like maybe even looking at what were the things you were interested in over the past 12 months, because when you're passionate in something, usually that turns into something more.
Absolutely. Yep. And then, we were talking about procrastinating. We all have time. We all have time to do things, right? So it just depends on what is your priority? What are you most passionate in, right? I'm passionate about, first using this LinkedIn Live as an example. I'm passionate in spending half an hour just to do the live stream, but there's all the preparation work. There's all the post work with editing and things like that. That's something I'm really passionate about. I'm really passionate about sharing information, bringing on a guest, helping my network as well. So with anything you do, figure out, is this something I really enjoy doing, right? If you don't like doing it, then don't spend your time doing it, right? Don't waste your time scrolling on social media that doesn't benefit you or benefit anyone else, right? Find time and do things that help you or help others as well.
For sure.
All right, we have a couple comments here. Yes, hi, Philip. Philip was on my live stream a month ago, so happy weekend. And this is why I like having the live stream at this time, at least my time in the US. It's, after the workday, after this, I can relax for the weekend. So yes, it's the weekend. Marcus is about 16 hours ahead of me, so he's definitely been in the weekend.
Yep.
And then hi, Sherry, all the way from Beverly Hills, same time zone as me.
Wow.
Thanks for joining, Sherry. All right, so the next topic here about side hustle. how do you build up your side hustle? So you sort of have that idea of like, okay, I want to do this entrepreneurship thing. I want to jump the punch. How can you build that up?
Wow, this is a huge topic. Let me see where we can start. Um, I think the biggest, I guess, push forward for your side hustle will always be to get started and get your feet wet. I think that's the number one thing, because a lot of people, they get caught in the ideation stage. They're like, oh, I need to plan out the perfect business plan. I need to, create this website, create this whatever it may be. I think the first thing you should do is always to just put yourself out there and find ways to validate it, right? Like in any ways possible. For example, if let's say, since we are both doing coaching, right? Like the best way to do that is maybe just grab a few of your friends, test out some ideas, see maybe how you can help them with their fitness goals or maybe their productivity. Validate that idea and gain some credibility / social proof that you're able to help it. And then at the end of the day, when we're doing something online, especially, like, people like to see that you're able to help other people achieve the results that they're looking for, right? So I would say the first stage is always just find ways in which you can validate your idea so that you know that what you're working on is something worth pursuing. And then the later stages is really dependent on in which field you are looking to invest your time into. I would say after that, once you've gotten a bit of traction, right, you've taken a bit of action, you've seen what works, what doesn't work, then I think the next step would be to look for either mentors or coaches or resources online to fill the gaps that you don't have. Because I think, or even just like networking with fellow like-minded individuals, right? Like, for example, I think this live stream, or like I used to run a podcast myself where I was interviewing guests. I think that's a great platform. You can do it free as well, right? You're just giving a platform for people to speak what you learn from them. I think that's a great way, because sometimes different people offer perspectives that you haven't heard about before, and that just shifts the approach where you do to things. So if you already taken action, you kind of have an understanding of what works, what doesn't work, and then you're stuck in some places, then I would say the next step for you to go and build it is to either look to people who have done it or network with other people who are in the same stages so that you can brainstorm together on the next step forward.
Yeah, I should have talked to you a year and a half ago when I was struggling with the same problems. When I decided to last April or May, when I decided that, I want to build up this career coaching side hustle, right? I'm going to take the plunge. I decided to take that step. I didn't know where to start. I was like, I got to build a website. I got to build a LinkedIn class. I got to find clients. I gotta do this. I got to do so many different things. And what happened was nothing got done. So I want to build a website. Okay, well, let me go look up domains. Okay, let me go. How do I design a website? And then for clients, like, what's my market? Like, how do I find clients? Like, how am I going to book clients? Right. So there's all these different things where nothing got done because I couldn't focus on 10 different things at the same time. So I decided to, all right, let me do the easiest thing. How do I book clients? So I set up my Calendly, I set up my Zoom, and then I let clients come to me just through my regular LinkedIn, content creation, right? So at least that part's easy. And then I can go work on the other stuff. And the point you made on, finding coaches, mentors, finding other people that have gone through the same thing or going through the same journey as you, that's an excellent point, because last summer I reached out to a lot of different coaches. I just got on a 15, 30-minute call, right? I just got so many insights from them. They helped me figure out, you have a price, right? You have a certain value. So you don't just give out your services for free, because you'll never make money that way, right? You have to name your price. And that was the biggest challenge for me, because I was posting videos and sharing my ideas, my expertise for free. And I felt bad taking money from people by, coaching them. And, talking to other coaches, like, no, that's that's what you have to do as a coach, right? You have a certain value, and you have many years of experience doing what you're doing. You're sharing that with others. So that's why you're able to charge those prices. So yeah, no, I mean, those are really, really great, excellent tips, right? Just focus on one thing at a time, and then find coaches and mentors that can help you there as well.
Yeah, I think when it comes to charging, something that I always say is like, people only pay attention to what they pay for. So someone who actually pays for what you teach versus someone who's just consuming free content, like, the amount of action that they will take on the thing itself is completely different. And I think coaching is simply for those who are needing that extra attention and need that extra guidance, which is why we shouldn't be afraid to charge for our services. And the same principle applies to whatever things you're selling, right? Like or the whole concept of like the sales mindset to begin with, because if people can do without your help, they would already have achieved that result. So they don't need you in the first place. But for someone who is struggling, only when you actually make them commit to taking that action will they actually be able to see the results that they want to achieve, right? And to add on another point on how to build this side hustle, right? Something that came to my mind earlier was it's very closely tied to your personal growth. So they always say, your side hustle or your business growth is interrelated with your personal growth. And I found that to be very, very true, because when you're just starting out, everything is very, very new, right? There's a lot of new phenomenons that you have to deal with, like dealing with rejections, dealing with putting yourself out there on live videos, getting very uncomfortable, maybe getting a few haters here and there. And you need to be able to work on yourself and your mindset to be able to move past that stage where you don't get affected as much and you don't procrastinate on the things that affect you. So a very related point was actually just yesterday I faced a few rejections, and it clearly affected my mood, right? And I've learned to notice the patterns that hold me back from progressing, because now I understand, okay, you know what, I'm actually procrastinating because I feel bad about getting rejected. Whereas in the past, I would just, maybe like spend half a day just like lying around, rolling around, like clearly super affected by what has happened. And then that just stops me from actually focusing on growing my business to bring it to the next level. So I think, these two things are really, really very interrelated, and you really need to be working on yourself. Although it's not directly related to, like, say, business strategies, I think it actually is a much more important factor to helping you build up your side hustle.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. With the side hustle, it's you, right? Like, you are your own boss, right? So then you have to be, you have no one else telling you what to do. You have to be the one doing the work. You have to figure out what you have to do, and then you have to be the one executing it. So, definitely developing that mindset is really, really important as well. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. I want to highlight some comments here. Happy Friday to you, Danny. He'll be on my live stream 2 weeks from now. And then Brent from Ontario, Canada. He was my guest back in September here. So a lot of my guests are on my live streams. So I really appreciate the support. Happy weekend to you, Paul. Hi, Diane. Diane attended one of my LinkedIn classes in October, so she's gotten a lot of great insights there. I'm going to plug in. I have a LinkedIn class coming out in January, so message me if you want the details. I'm sharing with you everything I know about LinkedIn in 4 weeks, so that's my plug real quick there. Andrew, shouldn't feel bad about charging people, right? We all have a certain value, and by, with clients, those who pay, they're serious. When I was started, my coaching thing, I started with a free call before I even had paying clients, and half the time they didn't show up, right? Because they didn't pay anything, and then it's a waste of my time because I have to rearrange my day to make sure I meet with them. So again, you have a certain value, and if you're starting getting rejections, don't lower your price, because you still have that value, right? You just need that one person, that one client to say yes to your price. So be firm with your price and stick with it. And then Anna, happy Friday to you as well. So next, let's talk about productivity. You're talking about procrastinating. You're talking about lying around, rolling around, not doing things. What are some productivity tips that you want to share with our audience here?
I think I would just highlight a few that has been like the game changers for me. I think number one is down to getting your priorities right. And because that's by setting your priorities, you kind of determine where your focus goes. So I'm sure, like, for you, there are periods of time where your work is busier. For me, there were periods of time where school is busier with like finals, coming up, project submissions. And that's where you need to learn how to shift your schedule around to fit, what is the thing that you'll be focusing at that point in time. So when my, school got busier, I made sure that, okay, I'm setting aside more time to deal with those things, so that I'm not, an irresponsible team member who just didn't show up for any projects or whatever, right? So I think that's the number one thing, to be able to set your priorities straight so that you actually put the time and effort into what matters. And I think the next thing goes back down to your routines, right? Figuring out, things like, when do you function best, right? When do you have the most brain power to be doing, say, your content, or like revision, or like work, or even, when is your ideal sleep cycle, right? How many hours of sleep do you get? Maybe some people can function on 6 hours, some people can function only on 8 hours, right? And figuring out how you yourself work, and then tailoring your own schedule to fit that. For example, probably for many people, there's kind of like the post lunch like slump, right? So that's where I actually like to schedule like meetings or like calls, so that as I'm speaking to people, I can't fall asleep, right?
Yeah.
Or I'm not working on my own stuff. So I think figuring out that ideal structure for your day, that really helps. And then the rest of it is just building up habits that actually make you stay energized and happy and not burning out, right? Like for me, I picked up, working out consistently, meditation, um, even doing like gratitude journaling, different things like that help me stay energized and help me stay in a good state of mind, like positive state of mind. I think those indirectly contributes to your overall performance levels.
Yeah, great tips there. I want to share some personal examples here. You're talking about focusing on one thing at a time, right? So sometimes school is a priority, sometimes work is a priority. A couple of years ago, I was working full time. I had grad school at night, and I was still cranking out videos every single week on
Right.
LinkedIn. And people asked me, "How are you able to do those things?" And I just said I focused on one thing at a time. So I work, from 6:30 to 4 p.m. Right, and that's my work time. And then I have class from 5 to 7 or 5 to 9 or whatever, right? So I focus on school. So once I'm at school, or once I'm even at home, I don't even look at work at all, right? I'm only focused on those things. So at home during the weekends, I can focus on school because I'm not focusing on so many things at the same time. And with the videos, with what I do on LinkedIn, I did it first thing in the morning. So first thing in the morning, before I even eat breakfast, I go log on LinkedIn, I go upload my video, I go, engage a little bit, and then, okay, I'm done. Because I can't do that at work, right? Because I'm only focused on one thing at a time there. So definitely set your priorities. And sometimes there's peaks, sometimes there's valleys, and different things. So then you adjust accordingly. And then the second thing you talk about was having a routine. That was my routine. And I'll just share a little bit about my daily routine here. So I wake up in the morning. I spend the morning learning languages. I spend the morning learning Cantonese, and then I go on LinkedIn. I go upload my post that I already wrote, or my video that I already made a month ago, right? But I already have I already did that in advance. So I'm not trying to crank up a video, write a post right then and there. So I upload the post. I engage on LinkedIn. I do that for maybe like half an hour, and then I start working. I take breakfast, I take lunch, I take the breaks, things like that. And then after work, that's when I have my coaching calls, or I have my networking calls, or I do my LinkedIn lives here. So, just by having, and then after that, after dinner, that's when I do my workout. I could work out first thing in the morning, but because there's so many things I want to do in the morning, just get it out of the way, I do my workout at night. And I think just by having those habits and being firm on things that you need to do to get done, it really, really helps. So right after this live stream, I'm going to download it. I'm going to edit the live stream, and I'm going to make my videos that are going to be posted over a month from now, because I'm so far ahead. But at least I'm doing that right now. So a month from now, maybe I'm so busy, I have other things coming up in personal life or work, I don't have time to edit videos. At least I'm building up that repository ahead of time there. So again, build up that routine and then stick with those habits, and it really, really helps.
Yeah.
All right, a couple comments here. So this is from Diane. I will definitely share with you my event in January, and you can share that with your classmates and friends as well. And Sherry, that's definitely a good tip here, right? Charge a fee, and if you don't show up, you don't, you still paid me, right? So that's something I learned early on in my coaching experience. If I book a free call, or if I let someone book a free call and I give them everything they need, they're never going to book a call with me again, because they already got all they needed, right? So again, give them a little teaser, or you just go straight on, hey, this is my rate, and this is up to you if you want to pay it or not. So last thing here, Marcus, I want to share your LinkedIn profile here. I just want to give you the opportunity to share a little bit more specific about the services that you provide with others, and how you can help others build up their entrepreneurial mindset, how to build up their side hustle, and all the things that you do to help others.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks so much for this opportunity. But essentially, I'm actually running and we'll be launching a new program soon. I'm expecting to close signups in about a week or two. And what I'm essentially helping others to do, specifically coaches and consultants, is to help them land their first 3 to 5 clients, right? So I'll be holding it in a mastermind format because I really love, the exchange of insights, being able to network with like-minded people, and there will be also one-to-one touch point depending on what they need, and how fast they want to go in their progress. So if you guys are interested to learn more about it, I actually have details in my LinkedIn profile that Stefan has put across here. So if you're interested, feel free to reach out in any ways. And besides LinkedIn, I'm also more active on Instagram as well with the same handle, Marcus Cheu. And it'd be nice to connect with whoever's tuning in to this live or the replay. But yeah, that's essentially an overview of what I'm helping people with at the moment.
Great. Yeah. So if you're looking to start your entrepreneur journey, trying to get your first 3 to 5 clients, definitely go reach out to Marcus Cheu. You have your link. We have his LinkedIn profile here. His Instagram is at Marcus Cheu. Make sure you connect with me on Instagram as well, Marcus. My Instagram tag is Stephen Helps You. So it's good to be consistent, right, across all these different platforms here.
Yeah.
So let's make sure to connect as well.
For sure.
Any final things you want to add to close with about entrepreneurship, side hustle, mindset, productivity? Anything you want to end the live stream on?
I think I would just end off by saying, honestly, entrepreneurship is not easy, but it's very fulfilling. Like you don't just learn about like business strategies, you don't learn about building a personal brand. I think what it helps the most is really understanding more about yourself and your own personal, growth journey. Because when you go through all these different things that you need to figure out on your own, that you need to be uncomfortable with, I think that pushes out of your comfort zone. And we all know that growth only happens out of our comfort zone, right? So if you're in a position where you're not sure how things are going, you're still in a very uncertain state. I think all of us are to a certain extent. What matters most is just to stay consistent, keep pushing ourselves to the next level, and of course to be able to surround ourselves with like-minded community so that we can all support each other to go to the next level together. But with that, I thank you very much for your time. I really had a good time here, and it's been great speaking with you on this live.
Yeah. No, thank you so much, Marcus. I can't do my LinkedIn live stream challenge without my guest. So really appreciate your time as well and your expertise. Really great words to close on. That being an entrepreneur is not easy, but it's really, really fulfilling. And I can definitely attest to that. When I help my clients land a job opportunity, land ace an interview and get the job, it's always a great feeling knowing that what you've done to help others directly help them as well. So if you're just looking to start something, start a side hustle, start being an entrepreneur, just take that plunge, learn as you go, right? And it's okay. It's okay being uncomfortable, but that's how you learn and grow and find other like-minded people to grow together.
Yep.
All right. And then, yes, thank you, Rod, for joining.
Thanks,
Have a great weekend as well. And then thank you, Diane, for joining. I'll make sure to send you my LinkedIn class, the details of my LinkedIn class as well. So everyone, have a wonderful weekend. And Marcus, thank you so much for joining me. And next week is number 50 of my 52-week challenge of doing LinkedIn live streams. So I'm going to bring on all of the guests that I've had early in the year. Marcus, you're invited as well. And we'll all get together. We'll share about our accomplishments for the year as well as our goals for 2022. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We'll try to fill up this LinkedIn Live, the StreamYard room with as many people as possible and just have a great time. So make sure to tune in next Friday, 50th episode, 5 p.m. Pacific. So make sure to join there. All right. Have a good one, everyone.
Thank you.